Right, good morning, folks. It's that time again, 7:29 a.m. on the sixth day. I mean, 6 month. 20. I might want to start this one over again. Good morning, folks. 7:30 a.m. now, the 6 month, 25th day, 2025. Fucking now, I got it together. Let me see if it's running live correctly first, and do a couple quick checks, because I've been having a little difficulty connecting lately. It looks like she's running. Sound is fucking working. All right, let's get right to it. No fuck around, no bullshit. This is the worst case scenario, right? It's showing two different separate totals, but I'm kind of thinking it's going to lean towards 300 on the mill section here, you see? But either way, you guys are fucked. You guys have big problems coming. You have major winds. You have a lot of water coming, and some of you got some major snows coming. And the conditions through these passes here are going to be unpassable. Don't even think to do it. The conditions going across the strait here on the ferry, don't even think to do it. Matter of fact, think about staying home. Think about writing that novel you always wanted to do. Take up a new hobby or something. Go knit something. I don't know, crochet it. It's wintertime. All I know is batten down the hatches. There she blows. The geostorm is coming your way. And you have a lot of EMF evidenced in the clouds that I can see here on my sat view today. Look at all this crap coming through here. You see how this field of energy here over this part of the island just stays square like this? Just like this. See if we can jump this frame on frame here for you. You see how the clouds just stay there, right? And all that's not caused by a mountain range. It's caused by an energy field, because there's no mountain range like right out here at sea. You know, if I take Mr. Squiggles here, which of course Mr. Squiggles enjoys his moment, you know, we can make a more exacting square than I could normally draw. Well, wait a minute, it's filling it. No, we don't want to fill it. And we want to turn that. And you'll get an idea of some of what my homework does. You know, when I'll just set this inside there. Now let's turn it to aim correctly. And you'll see the clouds are square formed. And I got more than one square on top of each other here. There's another one here. And there's a lot of devices that can do it. An X-rad radar can make a scalar square of energy. And this one's like this. And it's overlapped. Right here. And that will make things seismically active in that area. It's more than one pulse that was used here. And I don't think this one is HARP. HARP makes a much bigger signature. You see how they overlap the squares of energy? You got another one out here. And they're fairly square. Or are you going to argue with that? I wanted to rotate that a little bit to line up with that. And just do a little bit of my homework that I do. Yeah, we can do this a little better. I could do better than that. That's what I have to say. And as you'll see, these scalar squares begin to influence the weather. And this is not, and they cause flow differentials. Like this becomes a heated area or a path of resistance. And so a lot of this stuff is winds get channeled through here and here. They're going to come straight down and pinning really everything towards this range right here. I've seen an EMF line showing up here. I'm in the cloud picture here. Yeah, you just bear with this. This is like live homework, right? If you see this gap here in the clouds, well, that's an EMF line. So things are getting pinned to this side, okay, and that side of things. And that here is vibrating quite a bit. Imagine people under the influence of that, or in Auckland and stuff, really ears might be ringing. You might be feeling agitated, skin crawling kind of feeling. It's a a big sign of a scalar activity. Here's another scalar square. It showed up really well on NASA Worldview today. Yeah, I took that graphic down because I spelled heartburn. Yeah, we try to keep things right. I got another one right here. Big scalar thing. It's going to help bring a lot of the cold air up into Oz itself. The big outback's going to see temperatures around 8 degrees coming. You know, more scalar squares have been used to do these systems here. And I have to read these things. It's how I understand where the paths of resistance and least resistance are, so I can see where the cold air is going to go. It's just, that's the weather modification part of geoengineering. Cloud seeding takes a cloud and changes its dynamics. Okay, you have to have an existing cloud. Geoengineering can create clouds, and that's my biggest problem, is this stuff they use in cloud creation. And I'm going to go in and get cloud creation through putting particles. You know, remember they say you need a dust particle to put a water droplet to condensate on? Well, the things they're condensating on are preformed particles that have been designed by people that don't have the best interest of all creatures in their minds. I don't think they work for the wallet, you know, or this profit before people attitude that's got us where we are now. Notice how the squareness of this here is staying in place, okay? And I'm going to run that. But first, I want you to see something. You know, this is one of your NextRad stations frying your asses. All right, if I go in here, you'll see. See the parentheses? And it's all in the beam line right there. It's all your glitch, man. That's your glitch. That's the wicked glitch. And that's also a beaming thing. And I believe it had also beamed out a scalar square over that area. Because when I look over here, I go, wow, is that one obvious or what? Is this obvious to you? Have we got some square form things? Do I need to Mr. Squiggles' 3D kind of a thing that we used to enjoy in cartoons? No. I don't enjoy seeing chemtrails over the coast or over the forest or over anywhere. You could ban them over one state and they'd be deployed over another. And to make it a $5,000 fine or $100,000 to a corporation that's going to make billions off of a crop's destruction is laughable, Florida. It's fucking laughable. How about death sentence for genociding our mother? I'm serious. Can I have a job chasing down the Chemtrail Act things that go on? I'd be happy to, because I've seen some plumes over the Gulf of Mexico that more investigation today. As these ongoing investigations of mine through the years are showing me that that's a sickness mix. I'm going over the Penis Insula of Australia. Yeah, I'll call it what I want. I know how to say peninsula. You bunch of penis insulas. You're a bunch of penis nemesis sometimes. You see the scalar square in this haze? I'm gonna teach you guys how to spot this. And then they coming on up. You end up with a plasma forming. You magnetic particulates be all floating about, man, and all that badness is going on. And let's do this again. Yep, scalar squares controlling your weather, modifying what's going on, creating paths of resistance. So when you get one like this, anything coming in from the tropics over there, the Capricorn belt, I'm trying to get this to move down. See the square yet? Is it lining up perfect for you enough? Numbnuts? You know, if I have to teach you what a square is, well, that's another scalar square. It's not always HAARP that does this. Like I said, very often it's a radar device known as NextRad radar. And many of your old Doppler radars have been upgraded. It was from 2017 on and became NextRad radar. So don't let them tell you there's no NextRads in Oz, because I debunked that doctor of the BOM. Yeah, I loved handing him his hat quite often. But somebody send him a bag of candy dicks for me, please. Save me some postage. Yeah, because I ain't never seen somebody need to have a bag of dicks in their mouth more than that guy from the BOM that lies to you about climate change. Is he invested in carbon capture? Yeah, big air filters in the air to suck the pollution out that they're putting up there. See how this wave here looks like a curve? That's called a pulse wave. And that usually comes from a big device, probably located right about here, is where I was doing some determinants earlier. Yeah, it's right off your coast. But there's a ship over there that's monitoring rocket launches. It's got great big old blasting domes on it. So while it's not busy tracking a rocket for those 35, 40 seconds while it's going up into near Earth orbit, or just landing at sea somewhere that you don't know, so they show you they did something for the Buck Rogers Bucks they demand. And here's more sickness mix. I'm just tracking a plume. And it can excite the atmosphere to do that as well. Ships at sea are quite an active part of geoengineering. Oh, I bet you're curious what's going to happen, huh? I just telling you this. Geoengineering is just so horrible. So I'm going to put it on the rain and thunders and all that rumbles, and boy, is it going to get windy and chilly and cold. And I'm going worst case scenario first. All right, because that's just one I think is likely. Yeah, they're playing it down. They like to. And at the last second, they'll tell you what's going to happen. Well, I'm hoping that by forecasting in advance some stuff, that maybe some of your weather service, like the Met Service in New Zealand, might get honest and release information early. I'm not worried about being wrong about a forecast, and do the right thing and tell people to prepare for some things. They needed to bring the sheep and the lambs in over down there on that South Island, and I gave them plenty of time. You ain't trying to destroy that, or are you trying to destroy the food or the natural walls that we need against our body to have a good vibration versus all this fucking nylon world that we're in now with styro food and styro clouds and geostorms. And here you go. This is the bashing. You're going to get a bashing. And this will be at about worst case. And it's a worst case scenario, the overnight hours of like after midnight on Thursday, about 2 and 3 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. On Friday, you guys are getting absolutely hammered. So, yeah, take measures now. These are some heavy, heavy, heavy rains. And you're going to see the gusts that are going to be showing up. This ain't nothing to be taken lightly. Nothing to be taken lightly. Yeah, gusts over 90 miles an hour, winds, just total steady on 32, 40 kilometers an hour. No problem. It's the gusts that I'm worried about. And so it's the gusts that I'm going to show you. Auckland. Batten down the hatches. Secure your furniture. If you one of them idiots that got a trampoline in your backyard, so you can jump up and spy on your neighbors all the time, being rude, my head popping over the fence, dissing everybody's ease, you better tie that thing down, or it's going to go flying. Yeah. I mean, at what time you need a trampoline in your fucking yard? It's going to end in tears. And laughter. Some will laugh while some will cry. I needed that panel up. Big gusts. You don't want to be playing around at 73 mile an hour, but you don't want to be down here. You want to be down in Nelson, right, with the 92 and 100 kilometer an hour gusts you're going to be experiencing. It won't surprise me if you tick over 120 on some of these gusts with the pressure differences. And your earthquake risk around where my hand thing is right now is extremely high from the EMF I've seen, and over here in the bay. Across from Whakatane, the Bay of Plenty. Very, very high risk of seismic activity. That's all I'll say about that. You guys are always prepared over there. So I ain't trying to do no fear porn bullshit. I do prepare. And it ain't pornography to prepare. Oh, look at the winds. Oh. Yep, Wicked Witch gonna be riding a bicycle with Toto in the basket. It puts the Toto in the basket. It does this whenever it's told. It's convinced it's climate change. It does this whenever we tell it. Look at how straight that is, that front line. You ain't telling me they ain't going to beam your ass big time. Big time over Friday evening in New Zealand. Watch out for that. That's going to be a big sweep. And that's going to put a lot of energy into the fault lines that I'm very concerned. And then you get the second whammo. This is when the main hit of the brunt of the momentum of this massive chem that's spinning out there is going to hit you. Yeah, this is what I think is going to happen. That's what I'm telling you. Yeah, I gotta say, your mountain range don't run exactly like that, right? It runs like that. And so when I see a line going like this across the mountains like that, I know an EMF line held it there. Held it there. Boy, you can get some winds through there, Jack. Don't be caught out. Just don't get caught out. If you do, hey, ain't like I didn't warn you. You know, the system loves to sell new cars. The insurance company loves to say, hey, I can't sell you insurance no more. Why? Because I might have to pay some of it out. Then, but you have to pay in. Yeah, what a scam. What a fucking scam. And out here, man, you don't want to be in your walk out here. I haven't found a really good place yet for you to harbor. Here, maybe around Mahia Beach or this side here in this cove. But when that thing goes out to sea and some of the winds whip into this here, it's going to hang some water up. So you guys got some decisions to make about where to put yourselves. Yeah, I don't want anybody getting hurt in them marinas around Auckland. Yeah, you guys going to have problems. The water ain't going to have nowhere to go at the end of tides. And, well, New Plymouth, same old treatment from the geoengineers. You guys copping it. It's going to lead you some fair totals. It actually is. So I'm going to let this run a little bit more and put the pressure on it so you can see now that the main low is coming over. So this system's been stalled by that EMF that's been installed on to the east of your islands, those scalar squares. It's holding this storm up. And a huge pressure that's very low over to the south and west of you underneath Oz is where the pressure's leaning. It's supposed to push this along. So there's such a big gap between these pressures here that a lot of tropical air is being allowed to mix with this cold air. And this is when winter's going to come. This is when the snows will really hit. And so I'm going to switch now. This is when the snows should start to hit. When this thing comes across. No, is it this day? Here we go. Let's now put the rain and thunder and all the rumbles. I've told you about the winds, right? So let me correct what I just said. Watch this shit. You know it's going to be windy as fuck, which is weird when you got a pressure of 1016. How the hell is it so windy, right? It's because the man-made pressures next to it of 1043 feeding into it is what's doing that. And that's being done with atmospheric heater, probably from, Tangi Island over there. Poontangi Island over there that makes your weather, gets it all cunty. Yeah, I said it. Cunty McCunt is doing your weather today. Don't cunt, Cunty McCunt. How you doing there, Wallington? You enjoying your big batches of rain? Nelson, Richmond? I tell you guys got big fucking problems coming in the early morning hours of Friday through the day on Friday. Big rains, the whole Kiwi Beach. Come on, something ain't moving here. There we go. I took the particle animation off, but just want you to see this pressure. It's not a super low like you'd be expecting. To see such winds that we're seeing, I would normally be saying you'd have to have winds down pressure would be about 970, 960 to be producing winds of such gale force. But I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing what will be a breezy day. Right now. This is your hour when I'm most worried about your earthquakes. This is when I'm worried, when the dynamics of the turning of the air, because of the rotation of this, is going to bring a backside. The whole time it's been pushing that way. Now it's going to push this way. This island's going to have a pressure put on it that opens up the fault underneath Wellington a bit. There's a wedge shape. And that has a great effect on earthquakes. And I'm very concerned about that. And they were going to deploy a beam to straight line that front. At the same time, I'm very concerned about quake risk between the 27th and 28th. Significant quake risk, I must say. I'll have to add that. Hey, I call it like I see it. And when geoengineering tells me certain things from the sky and the conditions, I know what to say. And then that sucker's out of there. All right, I'm going to stop it there. And I have to bring it over here now. Hi, Melbourne. How you doing, Adelaide? Yeah, cold, windy, wet. Perfect mold growing season to sell that asthma vaccine. Yeah, let's put a monitoring device on the children now, why don't we? Yeah, that's what Kennedy wants within the next 4 years. Yeah, I guess they could track the shot better in the luciferase and influence it better with light and EMF and see what the hell happens. Or is it that to put that thing on the heads of the kids in school like they do over in China? You are not thinking like state. We showed you picture of Big Brother and you had a flutter in your heart. You need retraining. That's what I see this could be used for. New Zealand, I ain't even looking at you no more. Because surf has been up along this coast for a couple days and it's moving north. Yeah, this guy's got some big winds. It's not pleasant to report. That's going to be hitting Melbourne. Look at this. Watch this over the next 24 hours. This is windy and gusty. Yeah. All the poor people living in tents in Frankston over there. Look out for them. As he rolls his eyes. 71-kilometer-an-hour winds to be expected along here. These are the gusts, okay? And some of the gusts inland are the kind that topple tractor trailers or your lorries and your land trains. So watch yourselves out here. There's some big winds going to happen. And some big cold is coming up. Look at these winds here. These are your gusts. All right? So you people planning the road trips, watch yourselves. Be prepared. Plan accordingly. I'm going to run you right through everything. This is the gusts. Which is going to bring some fucking wow surf, but it's going to be quite dangerous. Be on your board, hanging 10, and you get blown off. You might even land on somebody else's board. Could I see a film of that? I watched a guy take somebody else's board one day. It was going by because the guy had flipped in the air, and then he put it underneath himself and carried his board. It was really made me smile. And he gave the board back to his friend. But that was a trick and a half. Yeah, I love since the skateboarders really upped the game of the surf, man. I'm really loving some of the tricks you guys are doing. Yeah, here you go. Surf's up now. Big swells for Coffington's Harbor. Yeah, I can't wait to see the falls. Yeah, but that's going to be windy. You're going to get some wets along the coastline coming up for the weekend. Okay, so let me show you the wets. You want to see your totals first? Yeah, why not? Kind of tell myself my content. Yeah, why not? It isn't a huge rain event for you. Hi, Sydney. You got your brollies. But it's nothing to worry about till the end of the month. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about that now. Yeah, that's right. I don't have to do a 20-day forecast every time I turn this on. It's very, very difficult. Hey, I got a job interview today for the exact job I wanted. Yep. Going to town today, 6:30 tonight. Oh, 6:15. Yeah, in the Liver building. Ain't that going to be cool? So I'll be down there to see the sunset. I may even take the ferry back and cross the river and back just because I can. That's a great place to eat your lunch. You could do it with public transport. You don't have to pay the big fee. Pay $6.40 in town. You can use the whole system, even the trains in the area, for a whole day. I get a freak out old man pass. Yeah, Marion Bay. It's not good, man. Some decent accumulations. But you need that for your gardens. But I'm not liking this here. So that's pretty much your update. Right? I showed you that, and I showed you that, and I showed you this. I showed you that. I showed you the smile of the Cheshire Cat. Geoengineering must be stopped. Look at the waveform evidenced in the side of this. Like a sine wave here. See this? That curve, just like a sine wave. I say they're using frequency. That's also another sign. And it's right there on another scalar square overlap. Because you got about three. One here, one here. You could read it in the condensates. Look at all the lines pointing towards here. Don't tell me you ain't got radar here. Where am I? Let's find out. Or over near Young. You got a device here. That's a device doing that. The clouds are telling me so. You got another device here. See the stop sign look? Yeah, that's just EMF. The antenna array in there is probably shaped like that. And that's why it's doing it. Doing it and doing it and doing it. Wow, look at the fryer here. Wow, look at this. Let's have a peek. Faster. Oh yeah, look how these clouds down low just stay in place. They're not moving along with the rest of them. So those are EMF. Same with here. Underneath this deck of clouds. You see those there? That's EMF as well. And it causes outflow boundaries. And you got some big colds coming, so I want to show you that as well. I need to, but I'm going to zoom it back for that. Watch how cold it's going to get inland here coming into the month here. It's going to get really volatile. When I start seeing temperatures like this out in this part of ice, I know they're going to feel some big winds. And this is when your fire risk is going to begin. Watch this hot day coming up. Yeah, I'm worried about this. When I start seeing these hots and then mixing with the cold, I know they're fueling winds. Even this here is awful. It's awful cold coming. It's going to fuel the wind, so your fire risk over in Northern Territory and I say this part here of Queensland is very, very high. When you start to see them drop temperatures like this. They did it last time they did a burn. Yeah, watch. Because you need wind, right? You need wind to fuel the flames. And there's going to be plenty. It's going to whip a lot of dust in here, so I'm going to be expecting lots of desert dust fallout colors to be on the cars. Very, very cold time coming. Yeah, New Zealand, very cold time coming for you guys. Some of the temperatures, -7, -10, ain't going to surprise me. At that moment, it wasn't that cold. In this spot, it was. Matt Nipley out there, yeah. Watch your willy when you're peeing outside, that's for sure. Snows, and that's another thing you need to know about. So let me show you. The new snow. Let's turn off some of the pressure. Under pressure. Yeah, over this event here from the passes. That's not enough. It's a little low. They say 40 centimeters or so. I know it's nothing you're going to be wanting to be through here for. That's for sure. But you got some nice powders coming, Az. Nice powders for up in here. Yeah, it's a big dusting. Bit of a dusting. I think you have a little more than that myself, because the temperatures say so. That you got some snows coming. But cold. Wet. Disaster for New Zealand. Very terrible totals showing. Very, very terrible totals. Right? Yeah, what Access got. And I'm in fair agreement with Access. They've nailed it so far all along. And some of the totals coming for the Canberra, Sydney things over the 10s is rather high. So we know you have an event coming that we're going to keep an eye out for coming into next month, okay? That's just what I wanted to show you guys. I want you to stay safe. I want you to keep your eyes on the skies, and I want you to open your mouths and speak about geoengineering. I want to talk about it at the breakfast table, the dinner table, and I want to talk about calmly and logically, because it's easy to prove that something is wrong with our weather. It's easy to prove greed as a motivation factor. And when I look geostorms in the eye that are supposed to be circular and round, I see square form hurricanes, typhoons, storms, and supercells that used to be round are now square. Well, geoengineering is doing it. A man that funds that is changing the climate. So they're not lying when a man is changing it, but it is the man. And it's time for us to take the power from the man and put it back in our hands. Okay? Big love. Get handy. Peace.